everything I could for everybody, now it's all about me.
It's all about me, yeah.
And out of everything that I lost, can't complain, cause it's when I found me. Some people tried to tell me I ain't listen, I fell back.
What's good, YouTube? It's your girl E Smith. I'm back with another video. I want to give a big shout out to my Mellow Clan family. Thank you guys for coming back. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to Mellow Talk, a safe space I created for us to discuss various viewpoints, opinions, and perspectives regarding true crime stories. I want to thank you all for being here, because fact of the matter is, you could be anywhere in the world, but you right here chopping it up with me, and you know I'm digging it. So look, go ahead, take this time to like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, also turn on your notification bell so that way when I drop new content, you'll be the first to get it. You guys, I'm so excited. We are 100 subscribers strong. We're actually a little over 100. So the Mellow Clan family is still growing, and I'm ready for it to grow some more. Thank y'all for coming back. All right. Now, there's only one rule to the channel. As we discuss our different viewpoints and opinions, make sure we do it with respect. All right. I do not want my platform to be one that we come to spew hate to one another. This is a no hate zone. Also want to let you guys know that everything that I post on this channel, it is for educational purposes only. This is research that I've done online, and I've compiled it in a video for your entertainment. Now, I do want to give a trigger warning, all right? The story that we're getting into today is about a 2-year-old boy by the name of James Bulger, okay? This is a crazy story, and it's really sad. And again, if harm to children is something that is sensitive and that triggers you in a negative way, I do want to advise you to sit this one out, and hope that my next video will be one that you can enjoy to the fullest. Now let's get into it. This story right here was actually a request that I received. Now, of course, you know my channel is fairly new, so I don't get just tons of requests. So when I do get them from my subscribers or from anybody, I want to make sure that I tackle those. So appreciate the request, and make sure if you guys have case requests or any requests that you want me to do, you can send them to my email. It'll be down below. You did. So in February of 1993 in Merseyside, England, all right, there's a little boy, 2 years old, by the name of James Bulger, okay? And he was at the mall with his mom. All right, his mom's name is Denise. Nothing super special or anything to say about her other than, you know, she loved her son and she adored her son. She actually had a stillborn before she had James. So, of course, a mother going through that type of trauma, of course, she would be really protective of the kid that she did have. So she loved her little James so much. He was such a cute little boy. They were having a good time one day, you know, leisurely walking around the mall. It was a mall in England called the Strands. It was kind of like one of those malls that are outside but may have a little cover in some spots, you know, like an outlet mall or something like that. But they had food. They had, you know, just all kind of things at this particular mall. All right, so they're having a good day, you know, just leisurely enjoying the mall. And around 3:30 p.m., her and James were inside of a butcher shop in the mall. All right. When she let go of James' hand briefly to pay for her things that she bought. All right. So she let go of his hand. And when she paid for her things and went back to hold his hand, he was gone. So, of course, as a mother, you know, I'm not a mother, but even myself, if I have a child with me and they're holding my hand and then I let go for a brief second to pay and then they're gone, I mean, that's crazy. So as a mother, you know, she's like, oh my God, where is he at? You know, she starts looking for him. And of course, 1 minute turns into a couple minutes. Now she's frantic. She's looking. She's hollering his name. My son, where's my son? You know, even to where other people are looking at her now like, are you okay? Asking her if she's okay, trying to help and see what's wrong, because obviously something is really wrong. She's in a panic. Some more time passes and the security guards get involved. So now security is looking for James because obviously he can't be too far, right? So security is looking for him. Still other people are helping to look all over for him. And I mean, they're calling his name over the intercom at the mall. Still no little James. Okay, after about 30 minutes, they called the police. So like I said, surely he can't be far. He was just with you, and this is a big mall. I mean, surely he can't be far, right? I mean, the authorities came, but it didn't cause extreme alarm because, again, this is a shopping mall. There are candy stores in here, toy stores in here. Your kid might have saw a toy and wandered off, or went into the candy store and got chocolate wasted and fell asleep somewhere. I mean, anything could have happened, right? Authorities advised everybody to stay calm, okay? So now it's around 5:30 and the mall is closed. Okay, the mall is closed. So there's no one else left in the mall except security, the police, the mom. You know, it's not a lot going on right now. So of course now we're like, now we'll find them because everybody is gone. So they searched the mall up and down. Okay, still no little James. All right, now this happened at 3:30. It's now 5:30. It's been 2 hours now, and we can't find him anywhere. So fast forward, now it's about 9 p.m. Okay, and now the authorities are convinced that something is wrong because we still can't find him. Okay, now the investigators go with security to go look at the security cameras. Now, mind you, back in 1993, security footage was nothing like what we see now. You know, our security footage now look like movies in some places. It's very clear. Back then, it would just take like still shots all over the mall. So it was nothing very clear. You could just get still shots. But they knew where he was when he went missing, and they knew about what time, so they knew exactly where to go look. So on the footage around the 3:30 mark, all right, little James is seen on camera walking out of the butcher shop. Okay, you also see on the footage where his mom is frantically looking for him. All right, then in another area of the mall, another floor, okay, James is seen on camera walking behind 2 boys. Okay, these boys are estimated to be anywhere from like 13 or 14 years old. Okay, then there's another shot of him holding one of the boys' hand and actually exiting the mall. Okay, and what's crazy about this is the fact that it literally took 4 minutes. 4 minutes from the time that she let his hand go for him to be out of that mall with somebody else. Okay, now who are these little boys and what did they do with little James? Because I mean, obviously some 13, 14-year-old boys aren't gonna harm him in any type of way. Maybe they took him home because they thought he was lost, or maybe they're taking him to the police, or I don't know, because I mean, obviously they didn't take him somewhere in the mall because they did exit the mall. All right, but why? Where did they take James? The following day, the media and authorities are desperately trying to find out who these boys are. Okay, they are, you know, doing everything that they can. They're posting the little grainy photos from the camera footage on the media, on TV, to see if anybody can just give some insight to the identity of these boys. Okay, also the mom, she was able to get on TV and ask for her son back.
If you've got me, baby, just bring them back.
That really makes me sad. You know, she's full of tears. I mean, can you imagine losing your 2-year-old, you know you only let him go for just a second, like just losing him. And of course, as minutes go by, it's feeling like hours. You know, you don't know if your baby's okay. That's a part of you, you know. So I can just imagine. I mean, you can look at her face and tell she is going through it. Okay, so you know when something like this happens, you know, when you put something out in the media, you know, people are gonna come out the woodworks. Everybody's gonna think they saw something. So the police are flooded with calls with people saying, oh, I saw some boys here, or I saw this, I saw that. You know, everybody saw something. All right. It was even a report that somebody said they saw a little boy being dropped in a canal or something like that. The police, they have to follow all leads. You know what I mean? So they sent a whole underwater search team out to the canal, and they're all underwater looking for baby James, and nothing. All empty leads. Then 2 days later, authorities get a call. There are 4 children playing near the railroad tracks, and they find the body of a little kid. When the police go, listen, this is a trigger warning right now. I'm giving another trigger warning, all right? Because these details are hard to discuss, and these are not even all the details, okay? So, if you're going to be triggered, I just want to let you know now, go ahead and exit off of this video before I continue. All right. So when the police get there, first, his body is completely severed in half. Okay? Because he's been, severed in half by a train. Okay? So they, of course, realize, okay, he must have wandered on the train tracks, got hit by a train, and that's how he died. Right? But after further examination of his body, it was determined that a whole lot more was done to it. It was even determined that there was a sexual element to the crime, because his underwear, his pants, his socks, his shoes, everything at the bottom had been removed. It's even said that his foreskin appeared to be forcibly pulled back. I just can't imagine that. Now, in this town, this caused a lot of problems. People were so upset about what happened to baby James. Now, everybody is, calling the police. The police are interviewing everybody that they can. They even at one point took a little boy in that they thought for some reason was the person, and found out that he had nothing to do with it. And after that, the community basically ran that family out of the city, because this is the whole town is in shock, and anybody that would do something like this to a 2-year-old that you guys even suspect, no, they gotta go. Like, it was just causing a lot of tension in the town. Then authorities receive a call from a woman, all right, who believes that she knows who these boys are, as did everybody, right? She described them as troublemakers, as always getting into shit, you know what I mean? And she described them as that, and she said that she believes that they were at the mall that day. So, of course, police have to follow up on these leads, all right? So they dress in plain clothes, they get in unmarked cars, and 2 sets of investigators go separately to each of these boys' house. So the day that they found James's body was on February 14th. It was actually on Valentine's Day. All right, so on February 18th, all right, this is the day that they go to the boys' house. So a set of investigators go to the house of a 10-year-old boy named Robert Thompson, okay? When they are let in, okay, Robert is upstairs playing. He has 2 younger siblings that live there in the home with their single mom. All right. And so before they spoke with James, they asked the 7-year-old, there was a 7-year-old there. I'm not sure if it was a boy or a girl, but they asked them, hey, did you guys hear about what happened to the 2-year-old boy, and, things like that. And so you know how kids are, they're innocent. So this kid just starts talking, and she's like, or he's like, yeah, we did hear about it. My brother took me, we went down there to take flowers and stuff like that, because they had an area where, of course, or like a vigil where everybody took flowers and candles and things like that to express their condolences. And so the 7-year-old said that they went with their big brother. So of course they're thinking, man, this 10-year-old boy, he went to leave flowers, like clearly he didn't have anything to do with this, but who knows. Meanwhile, a second set of investigators go to another 10-year-old boy's house named John Venables. They take both of the boys in separately for questioning. Investigators are really shook right now. They don't know how the heck they are about to question two 10-year-old boys as murder suspects. All right, now most of the time when kids are being interviewed, they're being interviewed as witnesses. Who said this to you? What did they do to mommy? What did this happen to daddy? What did uncle tell you? Who touched you? Things like that. But you actually have two 10-year-olds as murder suspects. So they're really thinking strategically, how are they going to question these young boys? Because they thought they were looking for 13-year-olds, 13, 14-year-olds. These boys are 10. They're young. I mean, you know how they do grown people. They can slam their hand down on the desk and say, tell me the truth. You can't do that to a kid. You know what I mean? You can't be aggressive with a kid because you can shut them all the way down. The slightest wrong move can make it a total mess, So again, they're trying to figure out the best way to approach this. And so what they did was they approached it with asking the boys questions to make sure that they knew the truth from a lie and right from wrong. Okay, so they asked them questions like, and I'm not saying them verbatim, but they asked them questions like, if a pig is flying in the sky, a green pig flying in the sky, is that true or is that false? Is that fact or fiction? And they knew that that was fictional or that it was not true or something that wouldn't happen for real. Okay, they asked them, if someone murdered someone, they even asked them specifically about little James. Whoever took little James, was that right or was that wrong? To murder someone, is that right or is that wrong? And so it was determined that these boys knew right from wrong, and they knew the truth from a lie. At this time, they are questioning the boys separately. They're not in the same room together, okay? So as they're questioning them, the little boys are denying everything. They're saying that they were not at the mall that day. They don't know anything about anything, all right? But of course, as questioning continues, they did admit that they skipped school and they did go to the mall that day. So of course the investigators are now thinking, okay, there's some lying going on. They're lying about things. First they weren't there, now they were there. Okay, maybe they just didn't want their parents to know that they skipped school. Maybe that's why they were hesitant to say it. Who knows? We're gonna keep questioning. Then one of them says that they saw little James, but that they didn't hurt him. So now investigators are like, oh, so you did see him. Okay, so it's like, yeah, I saw him, but I did not hurt him, So they went on to ask him, well, what was James wearing that day since you saw him? Now, the little boy was able to explain or describe in way too much detail what little James was wearing, okay? The investigator actually said he got chills listening to the description of what little James was wearing, because the only way that these kids would be able to describe in such great detail what little James was wearing was if they spent a significant amount of time with him. You don't just pass a stranger in the mall and can name from head to toe what they had on. You can say, oh yeah, he had a blue jacket on. Okay, but to explain everything that he had on to a T, they are now realizing that they could be sitting here with some 10-year-old murderers, or either some 10-year-old badass kids that led this little boy to his death. It was said that John Venables kept asking the investigators, can you guys get fingerprints off of skin? What a question to ask. Again, he's 10 years old. Why the heck would he be concerned about that? But he's asking, and he asked more than once, can you guys get fingerprints off of skin? Now, investigators keep putting the pressure on, and as they keep putting the pressure on, these boys are starting to wear thin now. They've turned on each other, each of them blaming the other for something that happened. Robert Thompson actually explained to the investigators that little James kept crying for his mommy, you know. But what was so crazy about it, according to the investigators, when he spoke of this, he did it more in a mocking him, like, I want my mommy, I want my mommy. Not like he felt bad or had any type of remorse for what he did to little James or what may have happened to little James. So as more comes out, again, they admit that they skipped school. They went to the mall that day. They did their usual, okay? These guys, these kids, they were not good kids, okay? They skipped school. They would go to the mall. They would steal. They would stand at the top of the escalator and throw stuff at people down at the bottom. Like, this was their usual. This was what they did. But the both of them decided that this particular day they were going to kidnap a kid and that they were going to kill him. That's what they decided they were going to do. And they actually ran across another kid before they ran across James, okay? But with this particular kid, it was more than one kid that was with their mom, okay? And they were calling for him like, hey, come here, you know? And the kid started to walk towards them. But one of the children stopped, and when the mom noticed, she looked up and said, hey, where are your, brothers and sisters or whatever? And she was showing them that they went with those boys or whatever. So mom ran out there, and of course when mom ran out there, the 10-year-old boys, they got distracted or they got scared, and they were like, yeah, go back to your mom, just playing it off or whatever. So that was a failed attempt. They didn't get to get that kid or those kids. So they decided they're going to go to a candy store now. We're going to go to a candy store. We're going to get some candy and we're going to steal it. That way, when we find our next kid, we can lure them away with the candy. Again, these are 10-year-olds premeditating a murder. Okay? So they, on their way to the candy store, though, they see little James. Little James, they pass by the butcher shop. They see little James. And they tell him, hey, come here, come here. Again, James is 2 years old. This 2-year-old is probably thinking they want to play with me. They want to get, the 2-year-old don't know, not to talk to strangers and all that good stuff that they learn when they get in school and stuff. So James goes right into the trap. So he follows them out of the butcher shop. Then one of them grabs his hand and they take him out the mall. And they walked him for 3 miles. And on that 3-mile walk, 38 people saw them. 38 people. And nobody really tried to intervene, okay? But there were 2 people that did try to intervene. And they would either tell them that little James was their little brother and that they were taking him home, or they told them that he was lost and they were taking him to the police station. People actually did report that they saw this little boy with these boys and that he was crying his eyes out. But I mean, a 2-year-old has every reason in the world to cry, right? That doesn't necessarily mean if you see 2 little boys walking with another little boy that something is necessarily extremely wrong, okay? That's just the way it is, okay? So the police station was nearby because they had to walk in that direction because they told people that they encountered that that's where they were taking him. So they took him to like a disused railway where they began torturing him. Okay. Now again, I want to give another trigger warning. Please exit this video if you are going to be triggered in any type of way, where I discuss a few more details about what happened to little James. Okay. They kicked him. They punched him. They stomped him. They threw paint in his eyes that was found on one of their shoes actually later. They put stuffed batteries in his mouth, and it was believed that batteries were stuffed elsewhere. They dropped him on his head. All in all, little James had 42 injuries. Okay, 42 injuries. And this is aside from being split in half by the train. He was already gone when that happened. Okay, the beatings are what killed him. Okay, they even dropped a 22-pound iron fish plate on him. They tortured this 2-year-old boy. Who does that? At 10 years old, who does that? So all in all, 42 injuries, with 10 of them being skull fractures. They messed him up, okay? And they agreed together, these 10-year-olds, that they would leave him on the train tracks so that could just look like what happened to him, not the rest of what they did. This is hard for me to talk about, y'all. Like, that's really tough for me, because if it was anybody in my family, okay, I would hurt them little boys, period. If I got my hands on them, oh my God. Like, who does that? Like, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just, who does that at 10? I guess they do. This is crazy. So, John Venables and Robert Thompson actually stood trial, okay? It was said that John would cry occasionally, you know, because again, these are 10-year-old boys. They're sitting in court looking at pictures of the body, looking at what they did, because, you know, court, everything comes out. Everything is put on the table. So John would cry occasionally, whereas Robert was said to not show any emotion at all. Any emotion. He was cold. Again, at 10 years old, he had no remorse, it seemed. Even John, you know, he seemed to have more emotion towards the fact that it was him dealing with the consequences, but not necessarily what he did to James. During the trial, their parents actually had to be moved to different parts of the country and stuff. They were separated from their parents because they were receiving so many death threats. They were even given new identities. They weren't even going by what they were at first. That's how bad it was. The boys were considered by the court to be capable of mischievous discretion, meaning that even at 10 years old, they could act with criminal intent because they are mature enough to know right from wrong, which of course when they questioned them, they got that part situated from the get-go, whether these boys knew right from wrong and a truth from a lie. So when the boys were 11, they were convicted of Lil James's murder. The judge told them that they have committed a crime of unparalleled evil and barbarity. Those were his exact words. And that in his judgment, their conduct was cunning and wicked. Okay? So it was a great disdain for those boys and what they did to this little 2-year-old boy. Okay? It's a sad story, man. The boys were given 8 years, and you can just imagine how devastated the people were, okay? But it's like, this is what I want you guys to tell me in the comments, though. Do you feel like they should have gotten a lot of time at 10 years old? Or do you think that that was a good enough time for them to be rehabilitated? For them to just get the 8 years? I know for a fact that the community was very upset about this. They even started a petition to increase the time that they had in prison, and this particular petition got over 200,000 signatures. Actually, like almost 300,000 signatures. So what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments, you know, what is a reasonable sentencing for these boys at 10 years old with what they did and the crime that they committed? Do you think that they should get less time and that they still have a full life ahead of them where they can change their lives and get on the straight and narrow? Or do you feel like these kids should be tried as adults and they should be in prison for a very long time. But they got, actually they did their 8 years, and they actually got new identities too, I believe. We don't even know what's going on with them right now. They could be among us right now. We don't even know. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think. This is a sad story. I just cannot imagine his mom, even now, the PTSD that she must have and the paranoia that she has when she's out with her child, because she did have another child after little James, but she still celebrates his birthday every year. You know, she keeps his memory alive, you know. But I really want to know what you guys think, and I want to thank you for being here. Please like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, so that way when I drop new content, you'll be the first to get it. Also, if you guys want me to talk about any cases in particular, don't hesitate, request them, email me. I love y'all, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for coming back, and next time, bring your butts back. I'm outie.
Welcome to the Ottoman.